Hey guys, John here. I'd like to introduce this month's preset pack called Demonic Synths From Hell, and this pack is going to be free for everybody. It's my way of saying thank you for all the support that you guys have given me through this fun journey of synthesis. So with that being said, let's get into it. This is the first one, which is called Demon in a Piano. And this one comes with tone, resonance, fuzz, and effects here, so we can make this a little bit darker if we'd like to. And that's kind of where that fuzz really kind of comes in. Kind of makes it a little bit more dissonant here. So next up, we're going to come to the bass at the very end. The next one here is going to be Bells from Hell. So kind of like Hell's Bells, but Bells from Hell. And we have tone, resonance, sub, and effects. I always kind of like to put the sub on the third macro just in case you want a little oomph to the sound. And there's a lot of throw here for this macro, so feel free to use as much as you want, but it is a lot when you go all the way to the top. But maybe you like it that way, so I don't know. The next one is called Burning Flesh. That one's pretty nasty. Next up, we have Demon Blood, another lead. One of the most aggressive leads in this pack, we have Cutoff, Resonance, Wah, as you just heard there, and effects. Next up, we have Synths of the Father. We have tone, texture, sub, and effects. The sub and effects are pretty self-explanatory, but the texture is doing this here. And we can always darken it just a little bit if we would like to. So now the fun begins in here because a lot of this pack has to do with pads and textures to really set the vibe here. We can do a lot of musical stuff and that's cool, but making the environments and the pads are really, really, really fun. So this first one is called Black Holes to Hell. Yeah, so how about that for great dramatic effects, huh? So next up we have Darkness. So this one almost kind of works as well as a texture or a pad. It's kind of in between, so kind of used to your discretion there. This next one here is called Eat the Maggots. It's one of my personal favorites in this pack. Okay, next up we have Eternal Voices. Yeah, so that one is a lot of fun to play with. Okay, next up we have Fallen Angels. Next up, Ghosts in the Wind. Next up, we have Judgment Day. Yeah, that knob's a lot of fun there. Next up, we have a Shepherd of Death, and this is kind of simulating that just decaying tone or that pitch-moving tone that just never really seems to get there, but it is nice and creepy, so here we go. So yeah, you can hold that note all day long. This is a shepherd's tone, and over here on the third macro where it says 5 speed, this is kind of how you would change the speed of that descending sound there. So we can change it like this. Or slow it down. So that type of sound is really cool because you can really use it for as long as you want to, and it's always going to have that detuning kind of characteristic. So really fun one to play with. Next up, we have The Devil Made Me Do It. So yeah, for this one, we have that drone that we were kind of just listening to mixed in with those voices. Then we have noises, sub, and effects. Next up, we have the Jaws of Oblivion. Oh yeah, a lot of good textures here. Now, this next one here is one of the melodic ones in the pack, and this is the Strings of Lucifer, because we want to have a little bit of melodic stuff in this pack as well, so it sounds something like this. lot of fun with that one. Next up, we're getting into the texture. So these are more so as not really a pad. They kind of function as a pad, but they're less melodic and more kind of atmospheric and sound design-ish, if that makes any sense. So the first one is, what would a blizzard in hell sound like? Maybe something like this. So for this one, we have cutoff resonance, and this flutter here is kind of a fun one as well. And that one's kind of there because it kind of reminds me, if you're going through some type of landscape or some kind of thing like that and some weird hellish blizzard, there's probably going to be weird creatures that we don't even know what they are, kind of making sounds and noises. So this one is kind of the overall volume of that. It kind of comes in and out a little bit as the texture goes on. But if you want a little bit more or less, the flutter is the macro for that. Okay, next one is called Devour, and this one actually I think might be my favorite one in the entire pack because it's just nasty. So here we go. Oh yeah, all its glory. And then the very last one in this pack is called The Abyss, also a texture. And the cool part with these textures, and actually a lot of the pads too, is you can kind of maybe just have like one root node, maybe a root node in a fifth, or maybe even something kind of more dissonant, or whoever knows what. The point is, you really just have to have one note, maybe two, and you kind of just really let the macros and kind of just the overall patch do most of the work, which is kind of nice in that sense. So yeah, like I said before, this pack is completely free. There's a link in the video description below. It's my way of saying thank you to every one of you who have left cool comments, donated, and just being awesome and learning some cool sound design. So thank you very much. Get the pack if you would like it, and we'll see you next one. Have a good weekend.